So last night you gave me a call. We caught up
Yep.
as we do a podcast together.
Indeed.
We talked for like an hour and 48 minutes. I didn't tell you at the time I was waiting for a call from someone that wanted to spend some personal time with me. We were having a hard time getting together.
Oh.
By the time we got off the phone call, I looked down at my phone, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to get together?" And I'm like, "Oh man, it's late." So let me tell you something, Alex. This is how much I love you in the Not So Common podcast.
Yeah.
I prioritize you in the show over some personal time.
Some personal time with the hitman. Yeah.
No, not with the hitman, our hit woman.
A sparring
Welcome,
partner.
everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Not So
Martial
Common
arts spar.
podcast.
Rock climbing. Yeah.
Alongside Alex Fasciani on Pat Country.
Hi.
Our 10th go-around together.
The 10th anniversary of the show. Episode 10.
Fives and zeros. It's not the 10th anniversary.
It's episode 10.
When we lasted 10 years. Oh, man. I'm
How
in
long
trouble.
How long has the Not So Common show been around, though? Is it about 10 years?
Actually, about 10 years on and off.
10 years running, baby. 10th anniversary. Episode 10. It's big. It's a big deal. What is it like? Actually, like episode like 74 or 78,
68 or
Yes,
so.
yeah,
Something like that.
So many more episodes have existed without me than with me. But what if one day we eclipse it? Like we hit the
130.
the equinox. Yeah, like the Not So Common equinox.
Are we not counting your few guest appearances before you were co-host?
I don't know. Count? Like that's up to the lore of the. That's up to the.
That's up to the
Legion.
wiki keepers.
Not So Common Legion. Yeah.
The people that start the wikis.
Not So Common Street Team. Yeah.
On the show, we're talking about the Game Awards, Coca-Cola Christmas commercial, and United Healthcare CEO being assassinated.
This episode is brought to you by the richest fucking people in the world. Every single topic.
Brought to you by the One Percenters.
Yeah.
So the call we had last night did interrupt someone that wanted to hang out with me. That actually happened before.
You didn't rally? What happened? What time were we done?
It was like 9:15. I'm an old man. I can't get through. Someone's gonna say they're gonna stop by. Now it's like 9:45.
Stop by? Wow. Okay. Where were you?
You're not gonna go on a date at 9:15 on a Sunday night. Everything's closed anyway. Like, what are you gonna do?
San Diego. Come on. What is it? It's
no. Bars and restaurants close really early in San Diego. Like, it's hard after 9:30, 10 to find stuff open.
What about all the fucking muscle bros with their fucking cyber trucks? Like, where do they go drink in the middle of the night?
San Diego's not a bunch of bros in cyber trucks. That's not the vibe in San Diego. Like, that's not it.
Maybe I'm just in a bubble of sunny, beachy California. That's not.
Places. I mean, is that Venice Beach vibe? I don't know.
I can't turn around without seeing a cyber truck. I can't throw a stick without hitting a Cybertruck, and not just a Cybertruck that somebody has taken one step further by putting a shit
wrap.
What are you doing? What are you doing? All the thing has going for it. The only thing that's
is bad aluminum.
No, is that it kind of looks cool. I don't even
love. It doesn't kind of look cool.
I don't love the design, but what I'm saying is the only value that it provides is that it's got a very bold look. And you're going to go in and just write some fucking bullshit on there? You're going to decorate it like your Forza car? What are you doing?
Put flame decals on it.
God.
Or a racing stripe.
God.
Did you watch the 50th Fleet Market Madness? It's out.
I did. I watched the whole thing.
It's got 35,000 views in less than 48 hours. For me, that's like a high-end number of views for one of my videos.
Okay, can I ask you to be... I want to congratulate you for reals because I love the energy of this show very much.
You like the laid-back, loosey-goosey style. That's Alex.
I like the outsider art vibe. It's very confident. I like it. It's really
confident. What do you mean it's confident?
There is no show that exists like Flea Market Madness, but you have segments and things that you do that just happen and everybody gets it because it just is part of the show.
What do you mean? You mean I've established reality show memes? You mean, or recurring
you just have
things?
There's not a lot of FPS shopping shows out there still. And
there are. I mean, probably smaller channels, but you can find them.
Sure, but that's just what I'm saying is it's not really you don't watch that on television. There's no tropes, but I don't know. It's just a very confidently done show.
I think I was pretty much the first to shoot at a flea market. That's pretty much established.
50 episodes, long time, especially because it's been 15 years, which a lot of people would take less time to put out 50 episodes of something. But I think that the pace of it's part of why it's good.
At the strongest, I was doing 6 a year.
But also, like, the thing that was great is that you had this backlog of episodes for a really long time that are old, that you were, like, releasing, that were, like, time warps.
Yes, I was doing that until the great hard drive crash at 22, and I lost, like, 5 or 6 episodes, which was going to get me to 50. It was going to, like, catch me up to 50, but those were all, at that point, 3 to 4 year old episodes.
Right.
So people are like, that's why I started putting when I filmed them for posterity, so people would know if the release date wasn't going to match within, like, 3 or 4 months when I shot it. I should have done that for all of them, but I didn't think about it. Because usually I would shoot and edit them within like a month or two, but then I started backlogging them because I would shoot like 2 in a month.
Yeah.
You know, because I used to find stuff. I think I told you, like, I have a psychic flea market sense. I'm like, I'm going to film this week. I know I'm going to find stuff, and that would work out 90% of the time. I swear to God, that's what happened. I would not film some weeks and not find anything.
Is it like part of your, and this is, and I just want to take a slight detour just for a second. No, not a jab, just a detour for a second. Like, when people talk about you, the, like, brand to you, you know, like, when people, like, give you back, like, you know, oh, we love Pat, we love, like, his sort of, like, the Amico, like, you know, like, we love when he does his, like, you know, his marathon, we love the books. Like, is there part of that, like, oh, he loves a deal, he loves to haggle, like, is there a part of that that's, like, Pat is psychic?
No one ever says that, but they should.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to propose that we start, like, one of the things about NSCP.
You think I'm, like, more psychic than you say that.
I think that you think that you're pretty psychic, but you just kind of don't make a big deal out of it. You just kind of, like, use your psychic powers behind the scenes.
Okay. If you want to be honest, you probably would agree, I have really good intuition about people and things that happen. And a lot of things that I think are going to come to pass. But to me, that's not psychic. Is it psychic powers or intuition, or is it kind of a little bit of both? Is intuition part of psychic powers? Because,
being able to tell you're going to get a deal is not like, you can't, like, do the algorithm to find
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about in general, like what you said about Amico and covering things. Like, I knew exactly how that saga was going to end, almost to, like, the letter of, like, how that went. To a certain point.
I just want fans of Pat, like, when we're sitting there, like, I always end up at their table somehow. Like, I'm always, like, really close to them.
Well, I invited you to the SoCal one to sell your records and make some
cash.
I
mean, eventually now we've, like, it's like part of the tradition at this point is that I, like,
you're part of my brand now.
Yeah. But now we have a show, so it makes sense. But what am I saying? Like, every time that we're in that situation, I get to see a lot of, like, interactions with your like, listeners and viewers.
You get to see that, like, the microcosm, and
I get to see what they think of you. You know what I mean?
The Venn diagram of responses to my branding, I guess, if you want to say that.
I would love for people to come up to you and be like, "What am I thinking, Pat?" Like,
no, that's not.
I want to know. I want people to be like, "Hey, Pat, like, how are we doing this year?" Like,
that's not the type of psychic powers I've had. However, I've had when I was in Jersey. Okay, it's a little bit of a side of the psychic stuff. When I was in Jersey, I did cold readings of a few different girls I was on dates with. We're talking like I was early to mid-20s. I made one of them cry in a diner because of how on point I was. I swear to God, I'll never forget that.
Just like a Sherlock Holmes.
I told her
Watson's
about herself.
Wife. Yeah,
I told her about her. No, it wasn't like looking for clues. I told her about her personality and things based upon the vibe I was getting, and she broke down in tears in the diner. I swear to God, I think I was 24 years old or so. That was the last time I ever did that.
That was the last time I used my powers in public.
It's like guesswork based upon people's, like, tempo and things that they say, how they say them. To me, it's just intuition.
Does the quickening ever impart? Does the quickening ever, like, impart that type of ability to, like?
I never cut someone's head off, Alex. I never experienced the quickening. However, I was on the Chilluminati podcast a few weeks ago, and we forgot to plug it.
Felt similar, right? Like, kind of like getting power from, like, cutting off somebody's head, right? Like being on another show, you're like, oh.
Plug your other podcast,
guys.
Or I was guessing.
It's Pat's like the Steve Martin, Tom Hanks, Paul Simon club. Pat's on the club at Chilluminati. Chilluminati is about, and I bet there's a lot of you out there that there's crossover. I feel like people who want to talk about aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, murderers, mysteries, capers,
paranormal.
Yeah, and just like internet weird. It's paranormal and the culture around paranormal.
Do you remember the Time Life Mysteries of the Unknown book series?
Yeah.
It's that in podcast format.
Yeah, perfect.
Basically.
Yeah, and we had Pat on to do like a tie-in with the N64 book. I pitched an article that wasn't in the book because it was too weird.
Pitch, you wrote the article.
Well, yeah, but I wrote it, but it wasn't in the book because it was too weird, and I just made an episode out of it, and we had great fun. So
it was fun.
Yeah, you can come check it out. And I don't want to spoil it too much. We already did talk about Flea Market Madness a little bit, but if you listen to this week's episode, which is about DB Cooper, we had Norm on.
You didn't tell me you had Norm on?
Friend of the pod, Norm. We had him on.
He's not over 3 appearances though, is he?
No, this is his first time. So he came on to do, and I'll have him on for more DB Cooper as long as it doesn't get solved in the next couple weeks by the FBI.
It doesn't get solved. You saw the Netflix documentary was really good.
Yeah, it was good, but there's some like development right now with some parachute. It kind of looks like bullshit, but they apparently the FBI has reopened their investigation. It's testing.
Oh God, again? Okay.
Testing. Well, because I guess like if they don't, they have to let people have the evidence.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, so they reopen it, and
all I know is that there was the one guy in the Netflix documentary they glossed over. That was like, yeah, that's the guy that did it. But they glossed over in like 20 seconds. Remember they went through like 6 people that could have been the suspect? They came to one and I'm like, it's him. And then like, it's probably him. But like the documentary focused on a guy in San Diego that obviously didn't do it just because they tried to corner him in a weird way, that weird reporter. Like
he probably said yes more like to like filming and stuff. Okay, here's what's up though. So this is another like synchronicity. You know what that is?
Synchronicity are 2 things that sort of come together that shouldn't.
Yeah, like just like weird coincidences that like seem significant or something. So like, I had Norm on, and one of the bits that like Norm and I do with our pal Sean, who does art for a lot of our channels. Shout out Jetpack Braggin. Is
I met Sean once.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he. We love you know how people have the Waffle House index when there's like a disaster, you can like tell how bad it is by like whether or not Waffle House is open or shut. It's kind of like a sociological metric that you can kind of track.
Sure.
So we have like the Pixel Dan metric that like if Pixel Dan ever does anything shady, like the world is.
You first of all, you stole that from me and Norm because we came up with that.
Well, I'm just saying we've been doing this bit, right? In our group chat. Yeah, about Pixel Dan, just how good of a man he is, right? We just love Pixel Dan, right?
He's the most purest YouTuber by far that I've ever met in terms of like authenticity, like wouldn't know shit if he stepped in it, and everyone loves him. Yeah,
he's the greatest. He's the greatest, and he's always been nice, and he's always been really cool. But just as a bit, because we've been talking about Pixel Dan, like just leading up to his appearance on the show. It like because I was done with the mysteries. Like,
wait a minute, Pixel Dan's gonna appear in Chilluminati?
No. We did. Oh. I'm done with all the like mysteries and like structure that I did around the show. And so as a joke, instead of like doing secret codes and shit during the episode, I just did like Pixel Dan trivia and like talked about like factoids about Pixel Dan. I showed off his first Christmas ornament. I talked about his Raphael Ninja Turtle costume that he did of himself.
I'm not sure I'm a fan of this Pixel Dan exploitation.
It's not exploitation.
I don't know.
It's earnest. It's just earnest admiration.
See, when I talk about him with Norm in private, it's like our secret thing.
Oh, you're
just now exploiting it for your audience.
You're mad because I'm in your treehouse? You're mad because I figured out the password?
I mean, I built it. I put in the work, and now you're just... I mean... By the way, he's in Pixel Dan has a cameo in Flea Market Madness episode 50.
That's what I was going to say is like both of the things came out within like days of each other, and like Pixel Dan is all over both things.
I mean, I don't know if I publicly said about the suicide pact me and Norm have, right? Like this is where it comes from.
No, what are you talking about?
Me and Norm have a long-standing suicide pact. That if anything ever came out about Dan,
if he pivots to crypto,
where he had to be canceled, where like he did something horrific, or portended to be someone that we didn't know he was, we both would jump off the Coronado Bridge here in San Diego. I never told that to you before.
No, at least it'll be beautiful.
This is where this all stems from. This is where this all stems from.
From your suicide pact with Norm. Now I feel weird about this
because we've seen so many YouTubers we love and respect either be outed as criminals or deviants or assholes or anything in between, that like it came to a point where like if it ever happened to Dan, that would be our breaking point.
I love that. It's very
That's
accurate.
where this your little bit came from, because me and Norman had this going on forever.
It's just a bit. It's just a bit that
I don't like the fact that you turning our serious suicide pact into a bit.
I think that it's weirder that it's a suicide pact. I think that adds
I
a
think
little bit
it's pure.
It adds a lot of stakes to the whole situation that I'm not comfortable with imparting to it. You know what I mean?
It shows our love for the man.
I do love
That's
the
what
man.
it shows.
I do love the man. But go listen to the Chilluminati podcast if you want to see 5 facts about Pixel Dan, his Halloween costume, and his early Christmas ornament. Or you want to come check out Pat talking about the Nintendo 64.
I gotta have a talk with Norm. I don't approve of this exploitation of our friend Dan.
What do you mean? What do you mean exploitation?
I don't know. This seems going
on to a show and saying, "Hey, you know who's great? Pixel Dan."
I don't know.
Tell me how it's exploit. In your episode, he promoted his book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's a great book. And, he put in the amount of work that I put in for a certain NES guidebook. They're the same form factor even. They're exactly almost the same. They are. Length, width, and height. They're almost exactly the same.
Do you feel like close to him because of that? Like, do you feel like, hey, we both like made like a big heavy book?
Not that we bonded or became closer to that. I think he appreciated, like he went through it years after I did, like 4 or 5 years. I think he was like, okay, now I kind of know the suffering Pat went through 3 times. Like he kind of realizes that, even though it's totally different writing about video games versus action figures, and I went through the hell of re-edits and getting things correct, like 3 times in this past book. Like we kind of have like a link now because of that, because we kind of like, how many people have done that? Not many. That like turn their passion into, I'm writing a book about it and promoting it on YouTube. Like that's not a lot of people have done.
I wish that was like every informative book about like a very niche hobby, but it's actually like, outside of some niche imprints, rare that you see something like that at Barnes & Noble. So it's nice.
Yeah, well, Barnes & Noble wouldn't be able to sell it. I mean, people said, why don't you sell to Barnes & Noble? It's like, because why? Why would I do, like, why? How?
It doesn't make sense for a self-published book to go to Barnes & Noble. It only makes sense with, like, when you're like, I think...
When you're famous.
Well, not famous, but, like, I think Dan's on, like, what, Dark Horse or something like that, right?
Oh, yeah, it's Dark Horse printed it. So they can
get it to everywhere.
Yes, they have distribution to all the comic shops and like everywhere. Places
so
in the mall.
that would be crazy for you to try and do.
But I guarantee you that Dan himself sold way more than people finding it by accident. That's the whole point. When you have a built-in audience, you promote it yourself. But anyway, Silver Spoons Season 3. Let me tell you something about Silver Spoons.
Speaking of rich people doing dumb things.
Well, in this case, it's the showrunners.
Yeah.
So I think what happened... I'm trying to get into the lore. I talked about how Jason Bateman was tossed off the show in the middle of season 2.
Tossed off the show because his parents, the main kid's parents, were getting jealous.
That's
that he
the
was
rumor, is
too good.
that Ricky Schroeder's parents didn't like it. The official story online is that the producers...
Did they get this from Variety?
No, it's just not. The point is this. Jason Bateman was such a good anchor to the show, even if he wasn't not in every episode. And his leaving the show left a vacuum of like credibility of a child character that someone else could identify with, that wasn't like perfect little Ricky Schroeder.
We needed a replacement sidekick, basically.
Well, you got Alfonso Ribeiro who come on, but like as you see in season 3, they got Alfonso. I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but he's a really great dancer, and every other episode he does a dance routine in season 3, and season 3 is when Silver Spoons jumps the shark. I'll just go on record as saying that. And
how many episodes have you watched now? Each season's like what, 32 episodes or something?
No, 22 is 24 is a standard sitcom, 22 to 24. So I'm like 53 episodes in. I'm like 9 episodes into season 3 or 10 episodes.
So they've had a lot of time to like make this show a show.
I am halfway through the run. Through season 3 is halfway through the run. So by season 3 though, I think the show knew it was probably the height of the popularity, because like they know they're cool. They're writing Ricky to be a cooler character than what he should be, because now he's a freshman in high school. He's 14. They have fucking pop locking in the episode. They had a Michael Jackson impersonator doing the moon. He does the moonwalk every other episode. Remember, this is like 1984 now, season 3. Fall of 84 is when it came out. And it's like 2 on the nose pop culture. It's a show where like no longer was it made in the 80s, mid 80s. Now it's like we're trapped in the mid 80s, if that makes sense.
It's full on. You got like fully poochied.
Yeah, it's too much. We're gonna lean into the pop culture, MTV, Michael Jackson stuff. They're hanging out now at the diner, and random people are doing dance routines, and I'm just like, this is not what this
dance
is not
routines at the diner.
Yeah,
just like in the background.
So now every episode, like they'll hang out at the diner, and like with their friends or other, and this is not what the show was the first 2 seasons. The show is too cool for itself. Too cool now. It acknowledges that it's cool, and I think what happened is that the showrunners, Moy and Levitt, left. I think they left by then and did the show with Jason Bateman, all the right moves I told you about last time.
Yes.
So the tone of the show has shifted. It's
is
not
that
as
really true? Okay, hold on.
It might be. The show is not as earnest as it was the first 2 seasons, where like there's some. I teared up on some episodes I told you about.
Right.
This season has none of that. The
first episode, I'll tell you what, the pilot was like, I mean, it wasn't like breaking new ground, but it was rock solid television. Yeah.
It was earnest, which is how you describe me. And so that's gone. The authenticity factor is gone in season 3. It's like gone. And officially jumped the shark in, what's the episode number, where I couldn't believe it was a thing. Episode guide. By the way, there was another episode that's not available for streaming. So there was the episode with Menudo that's not available
just because of the music?
Maybe. But there's another one in season 3 that wasn't available that they skipped over. They skipped over the Christmas episode in season 3 on both Tubi TV and Roku. I'm like, what happened in the Christmas episode that they can't get the rights to it? Really weird. Now I want to try to track it down on the DVD.
Silver Spoon's Christmas episode.
Yes, they skipped over in season 3.
Just has full-on frontal nudity in it. Just straight up titties out. A guy says the N-word in it.
So, oh God, the old grandpa.
Yeah, a scary mall Santa just comes out of the woodwork and says the N-word.
So Silver Spoons jumps the shark. So literally, if you're going to watch Silver Spoons, tap out after Jason Bateman leaves in like 15 episodes into season 2.
Damn.
Episode 7, a 2-parter, Voyage of the Darn, part 1 and 2. Episode info: Kate makes an attempt at flying the gang through the Bermuda Triangle.
What?
So the episode is Kate.
Don't tell me they crash.
They crash on a deserted island. They charter a plane that's supposed to go from like New York to like Barbados or somewhere like Bermuda, like a small like little Cessna that fits 6 people, which is insane if you're a millionaire to do that. Plus, you're not going to make it all the way from New York to the Caribbean in a little plane like that. It's just impossible.
What on earth?
They fly into the Bermuda Triangle and they crash.
That's
the end of the first
far.
episode.
It's like 5,000 miles.
They crash on an island where they discover someone else had crashed, and like then they think Alfonso Ribio died because a fucking hurricane hits right after they come. It's ridiculous, this episode, and there's nothing like this in the first 2 seasons.
Is it just like a regular episode in the middle of the season? They just get marooned?
It's not a season finale, and they totally Mary sued Kate. Because Kate, at the beginning of the episode, oh yeah, I learned I was around airplanes my whole life, and I'm a seasoned pilot. Never ever even reference at all the first 2 seasons that she knew how to fly a plane.
She's a woman of many surprises.
Especially since the Bob the airplane pilot, I think I told you about, the over the top macho guy was going after her as a pilot, and she never in her interactions mentioned that she was a pilot. Anyway. So the end of the second episode, 2-parter, is we're gonna be saved. We fixed up a radio, the broken radio, and we talked to someone that spoke Spanish, and they're gonna come and pick us up. We're only 20 miles away from the mainland or something ridiculous. So I'm struggling now to get through the rest of Silver Spoons. That destroyed my enthusiasm.
Just drop it. Why?
I can't. I have to see it through.
The whole other half of the show.
I have to see it through. I have to see anything comes up.
They crashed on an island for 2 episodes?
Well, end of the first episode of the 2-parter, but yes.
Oh my God.
And there was an already made hut by the person that was there before that survived.
Were there skeletons?
Or they couldn't find the skeleton of the guy there. That was probably too grimdark for this show. But they found his journal. He had a thick journal, and they read through it, and like he's going insane because he's on the island for like 20 years. It's really a dark episode, that part of it.
Have you watched all of season 3?
No, I'm like I said, I'm like 15 episodes.
So you got
into
like
season
70 episodes left. Not even like 60
3. I have
episodes
50
left.
episodes to go.
Yeah.
50 something episodes. Yeah.
That is too much.
Never have I gone from I love this show and it's better than I thought to oh my god, it's fallen off in like.
How invested are you? Like, how much are you watching this when you're watching it? Like, are you like sitting
I'm
there
watching
it?
one or two episodes a day, and I'm usually falling asleep in the second.
Are you playing Star Trek at the same time?
Star Trek Fleet Command? Hell, I'm playing it right now on the side eye. Yes.
Really? You want to know? You want to know what my absolute like rock bottom gamer moment was?
What's that?
Driving a car on the freeway and playing Pokemon.
That's fucking insane because that'll get you killed. I never.
Well,
have done that.
I mean, I wasn't like speeding down the freeway. We were, in traffic, but like still.
Okay.
Yeah, stop and go, but still.
You want to talk about this Kraven movie that we all knew was going to be terrible? The last of the Sonyverse Spider-Man movies.
Here's the thing. I love these movies.
You love that they exist, or you actually enjoy them?
No. Like, I actually enjoy them. Yes. Are they good? Absolutely not. Hey,
Pooch, what's going on?
Something's happening outside.
You actually enjoyed seeing Madam Web. You enjoyed the Venom movies. You enjoyed Kraven, and you enjoyed Morbius.
So let me tell you this. Having seen all these movies, I haven't seen Kraven yet.
Which has gotten worse reviews than Madam Web, by the way.
It's not a priority. It's not a priority. I'm overjoyed that Russell Crowe is in. I had no idea he was in the movie. I can't.
He's at the point in his career like Nicolas Cage where he's doing whatever.
I love what Russell Crowe's life is right now.
I got to work for 4 days. You're going to pay me $800,000. Okay, I'm there.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna do some. We're gonna do some. We're gonna do a mini media podcast about Russell Crowe. Me and you. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be called Eating Crow with Pat and Alex.
That'll be the exclusive when we start a Patreon.
That'll be our Patreon exclusive. Is the Russell Crowe fan cast.
Eating Crow. There you go. We run through everything. We start with virtuosity.
Let's go backwards. That will be even better. Let's start with his current.
Virtuosity is the last one we watch. I'm not sure that's even his first movie, but
we start with like whatever movie just came out. And we go backwards, and anytime he puts out another movie, we just stop what we're doing. And we go watch that one. Anyway.
Here's the critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes for Kraven the Hunter. Claiming no trophies with its rote story and shoddy special effects, Kraven the Hunter turns out to be a paper tiger. And they pushed the release of the date of this back like almost a year, I believe. This was supposed to come out like a year ago almost.
Yeah.
And they pushed it because Madam Web was such a disaster.
Because it looks like shit. It's shit, dude. It's shit.
Yes.
Venom, okay, the Venom movies are not good. All right, they're not good movies. Like
the first one got well reviewed or decently reviewed. I think
that's what I'm going to say. The quality is thus, and because I've seen them all. The Venom movies are like on a far away like the highest quality movies in this franchise, right? Like I don't know if the Spider-Man movies count. I'm going to say they don't, right? Because
no, they don't because Disney produced them.
It's officially a different universe, right? He goes through like a portal when he shows up in the Marvel universe for a hot second, right? It's like
then
not
comes back and leaves a little breadcrumb of the symbiote.
Yeah, whatever. Behind. Like fuck off. But like so you telling me if you tell me the Venom movie that happens in the Marvel universe is going to start with we just found a drop of black shit from another universe.
Well, that's what they set up. They set that up.
But I bet you a comic's going to hit.
But that's closer to the comics origin than anything else. Because they didn't explain it, and in the original Sony Spider-Man 3, it was a random meteor that falls 50 feet away. Spider-Man 3 is so bad because everything is
accurate.
Shut up. It's a pyramid of coincidences and things that could never happen in Spider-Man 3. But like that's the worst one. Is that we're hanging out in a park and the meteor with the symbiote crashed 50 feet away from me. Ridiculous.
Spider-Man 3 is like. Here's the kindest thing I'll say about it, because obviously it's the worst of the three. I don't think it's a terrible, terrible movie like a lot of people do, but it's very much like the prequel. It's very much like the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, where, it was motivated by something other than creative inspiration. Yes. He didn't want to do the movie, right? And so he just decided to do it.
No. He wanted to do the movie with Sandman and Vulture. They forced him to put in Venom, which he didn't want to do.
Right. And so he decided, well, if I'm going to do Venom, I'm going to do it like a 1950s sci-fi movie, and I'm just going to cram it into my movie. And it became more about him having a fun time making the movie than it was about there being a great movie at the end. and yada yada yada. There's some great moments in Spider-Man 3, but whatever. But the point is, Venom is the best that you get with these movies, right? So Venom still kind of hits because people who go to Venom, like, you get what you pay for with Venom. The special effects are pretty good. Tom Hardy is one of the best.
Venom's the most popular Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
So you can pull it off with Venom because Venom has been around now for like 35 years.
Yeah.
In the comics about.
More, yeah.
Well, don't count the Web of Spider-Man 18 cameo, which if you're a comic fan, you know about that. But you count Amazing Spider-Man 298 to 300, the first full appearance. That's like 88, I believe. Or 87. I think it's 88. Anyway, the point is that the character has now been around for so long, and people know about it. He's an iconic Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
And people like him. He became an anti-hero. Got his own miniseries with a chrome cover, which I still own. Things like that. You could pull off a Venom movie, even though not having Spider-Man is so stupid because they're so linked together.
The whole point is that he looks exactly like Spider-Man. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense that he doesn't. Yeah.
Does he? I don't know if does he web swing in these Venom movies? I don't think he does. Right?
He
doesn't web swing. So they got rid of that.
He uses his goo to swing around. Swing. Yeah.
So they disconnected it from Spider-Man, but to me the only interesting part of the character is that he came from Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man's doppelganger.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So going through that, I understood, even though I didn't agree with it. But now you're like, oh, we're going to do Madam Web, and even me as a Spider-Man fan, I was like, who the hell is Madam Web?
Well,
who is that?
First, here's the thing. So, Venom comes out, and you got 2 Venom movies out, I think, before even Morbius comes out. But then Morbius, people go see Morbius. Some people go see Morbius because they're like, Venom is this, big trash pile that we love. Venom, the people who love Venom don't love it because it's good even. It's kind of like a gleeful hate watch of a movie, kind of. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think in general, it's it doesn't have big aspirations to be a great film. It just is fun to go watch. I love him. Venom's funny. Tom Hardy's
a dumb movie, and
yeah.
Tom Hardy probably acts his ass off.
He's a weird ass actor, and he's giving it his all, and he's making weird choices, and it's really fun. But it's dumb as shit, right?
With his weird Bronx accent that he puts on.
Yeah. Same thing with Woody. In that second movie, it's just a bunch of weirdos being weirdos, but it works because we're talking about some of the best actors who are fucking alive, right? Just doing Russell Crowe shit. So that's
they're feeding.
They're eating crow, bro.
Eating crow.
And then so then Morbius comes out, and we're like, oh, this is another Venom, just on the strength of Venom being a runaway hit.
I didn't think that. I thought it looked terrible from the start.
Of course, but so does Venom. So does Venom. That's the whole point. Venom looks almost like he has a learning disability, and that people are being nice to him in the first trailer for Venom. Have you seen it? It looks like
I haven't seen any of them. I refuse to see it because
the Venom trailer looks like somebody took
the trailer. Oh, I've seen the trailer of the original. Yes.
It looks like Venom trailer looks like somebody who got hit in the head with a hockey puck at a young age, got to go visit a news studio and be a journalist, and it looks like a 90s comedy. It's crazy.
Well, Morbius looked like a movie that should have been made in 2000.
Yeah, Morbius got love because people were expecting another success like Venom, but then it sucked so much more than Venom.
It sucked more, and the ending was incomprehensible with the tag of they somehow got Michael Keaton's Vulture from the MCU Spider-Man into here
Doesn't
to
make
team
any
up.
Fucking sense.
It makes zero sense, and then they got rid of one of the interesting things about the Spider-Man. First Spider-Man MCU movie was the Keaton character's still around. He's in prison. He knows Peter's Spider-Man. You can build upon that or come back to that. And then they eliminated that. They just got rid of it entirely by doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Jared Leto is only obnoxious people like Jared Leto.
He's a douchebag.
Jared Leto is his unpleasantness, and I'm not. Look, I know that I'm just a person. But Jared Leto's toxic obnoxiousness, his selfish, actorly dumb existence, oblivious,
over the top method acting.
He's just totally self-indulgent,
leaving
oblivious.
a used condom in your dressing trailer where Will Smith almost knocked you out on set. Like, this is not behavior that
all
you
I
want
can
to
think
happen.
about, all I can think about genuinely is how much I don't want to hang out with him the whole time that I'm looking at him.
We're not even bringing up all the controversial private life stuff that
Yeah.
we could get into. That's
What,
really
I don't even want to touch that. But then,
Yes.
Madam Web comes out, and somehow Madam Web is even worse. Like, it's like they just, Yes Man, or what? No, not Yes Man. What's it called? The Summer of George. You know what I'm talking about? Where you just George just does everything. George Costanza, right?
I guess it was that.
He just does everything the
Everything
opposite
wrong.
of he
Yes.
does the opposite of what he thinks.
Yes,
And it
works.
works for him. This is that, but just opposite. Like, they're like, let's make a movie about this like one time off like luchador Spider-Man villain with Bad Bunny. Let's set him up
When they
set him
announced
up.
that, I realized they had the Sony execs were out of their mind, because I another character I never heard of, but then I looked it up and it said like the character was only in 1 or 2 issues, and I was like, you cannot do a movie about that.
That nobody gives a shit about like, first of all, no young people
What was
are
that
reading
character's
comic
name?
books.
What was his name?
I can't remember. It's like the Spider or something like that.
Bad Bunny character Spider-Man.
Yeah. I literally don't know, because he's not a significant character in the larger mythology of Spider-Man. He's
El Muerto or the Death.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, great. But that was a horrible, like, that movie is so opposite of good in every way. Like, they were like, let's just dub the villain. Let's just change it. Like, it's not testing. Let's get Sydney Sweeney in there. Let's give her literally nothing
now we're
to
on
do.
to Madam Web. We're talking about the El Muerto movie that never came out. Now we're
Well,
on
but he's
to
also
Madam Web.
he's also in Madam Web.
No, he's not.
Isn't he?
Bad Bunny's not. No, he's not.
El
Bad Bunny's
Muerte?
not in Madam Web.
El Muerte, isn't he?
No, he's not. It's a different villain. No, he's not in that. It's a villain based out of South America. The origin is so crazy in this movie.
Did they? Okay, hold on.
He's not in that movie. It's not. I'm sorry, Alex, to derail your Sonyverse theory.
No, this is even worse, because what I think happened is I think that he was gonna be in it, and then that movie doesn't exist anymore, so they changed it.
No, they just canceled that movie. The point is this: Madam Web is so bad. It takes place in like 2003. They try to erase that from the movie, but there's so much evidence in the film that it takes place in the early 2000s. And then they have Ben Parker in it, so potentially you see young Peter in the movie, and the whole movie is an incomprehensible mess to set up all the female heroes that are not heroes yet in the movie, and the dialogue is supposedly horrendous. And the movie's so bad that before it came out, what's her name was disavowing it. The star was disavowing the movie before it came out, and like joking about how bad it was, which is not how you want to get rehired in Hollywood, by the way. So like, I don't know if she's going to have a long career, because you did not do that. Sydney Sweeney kept her mouth shut and got her paycheck, but the star of it was what's her name? Was that who's the star of it?
50 Shades of Grey.
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
Nepo Baby, as I did the Saturday Night Live sketch. Nepo Baby, Dakota Johnson. So there you go.
So he pulled out of that movie in September of 2013.
They canceled that movie.
I'm sorry, 2023. I'm sorry.
They canceled it a year and a half ago.
He pulled out in September of 2023, and they delayed the movie to after it came out. I cannot believe that had nothing to do with his character.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked you didn't know. It had nothing to do with it. It's just
I thought that the reason that they were doing that was, and apparently now they're telling me it's Ezekiel Sims, which I guess I just didn't catch. But I don't really care about Spider-Man that much.
Okay, well then we're going to fight later. So the point is this: someone at Sony won't get fired over these disastrous, all lost money movies. You know, they claim Morbius made money. Like no one's head rolls over this, and it should. Like this is a disaster to have. Don't even count the Venom movies. Like the third movie didn't do well, I think, at all. So count Venom 3, count Morbius, Madam Web, and then count this one. And I guess count whatever pre-production money you wasted on El Muerto. But count 4 movies that have been a disaster in the last 2 years for them, where they finally admit, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. We should let Marvel/Disney do this. It's like, yeah, thank you, assholes. Thank you for ruining Kraven. You could have done a really cool Kraven and built up the character to do Kraven's Last Hunt.
But that's the problem, is that even Kraven's Last Hunt, which is like the best, like pretty much the only reason Kraven is tight.
It's the reason why we know about him today.
Yeah, the
still.
reason people care about such a dumbass villain for Spider-Man in the first place is because they made him more than his stupid idea of being a human hunter who dresses like a fucking zebra and shit that he does.
Like a lion, but yes, just like, is there some zebra stripes in that outfit? I forget.
If I had to tell you, if I had to put money right now on whether or not Kraven has any zebra stripes at all, I would be.
Kraven outfit.
I have no idea. But
he's got his lion vest. We know that.
Yeah, but the reason he's cool, studio executives, is because
it's like cheetah pants, by the way. That's what it is.
A fucking comic book from like what, the 70s, the 80s, early 80s. I don't even know when.
It was late 80s.
It's like just one of those weird times where a comic book like turns around and gets like serious and like looks you in the face for a minute and is like, yeah, damn, right? And you're like, okay.
Yeah, we made a weird original Sinister Six character that really didn't have a lot of memorable appearances ever. Now we made him like, this is a really good, awesome six-parter that went through the three Spider-Man comics at the time.
The best story you could possibly tell about Kraven, and it doesn't look like they're even. It doesn't even look like they're going to do it, because how can you do it without Spider-Man?
Yes, exactly. The same way, like you could have really built up a real Venom Spider-Man movie and done it properly. Yeah. And this is during the period, real quick, when Spider-Man got rid of the symbiote. So he still wore the cool black costume for like 2.5 years in between when Venom came. Then obviously once Venom came, he got turned off, and he went back to the classic red and blue and number 300. That's what happened with that costume. So, but no, I like the black costume. But anyway, so the point is this: you know the movie business a little bit.
Yeah,
I just know I know how it should work, but no one's getting fired over this, and they should. People should not be being paid millions of dollars to greenlight this shit.
This is the death of the movie industry: is that they turned movie studios into machines that make stupid ass movies instead of like companies that fund beautiful things.
Well, no. That's always existed in some form, but no. The fact is that they think they can still do cinematic universes when they can't. They tried with the Mummy universe with Tom Cruise several years back. They tried with Ghostbusters with the disastrous 2016 movie, and it didn't work out. It can only work for like superheroes, it seems, but you have to do it properly because even DC messed it up. Yeah, and they have Superman and Batman, and they screwed it up. So now Gunn's going to try to do it right with the Superman movie.
Listen, I believe in Superman. Superman always is good. I love Superman.
But I'm actually excited for this new movie next summer because it'll be the exact opposite of the grimdark Zack Snyder version that already came out 11 years ago.
Do we want to move on from?
We do.
Listen, do we want to move on because you just reminded me of something that happened earlier this year that is so, it's like almost the Chilluminati podcast, but it's not. Can I talk about this just for a second? Just for a few minutes.
So, you got 2.5 minutes.
Okay, Gail Simone, right? She's currently the writer of the Uncanny X-Men, right? She's a huge comic book writer. If you know her, she's also big on Twitter and on Blue Sky and stuff. She's like famous, like personality on there. But there was a post in February that kind of was like when the trailers for Kraven first started coming out, and it's like absolutely crazy, and it's like literally they're like the Spider-Man universe is ripping off the Secret Six story from Gail Simone.
I heard about this actually. I think
it's absolutely insane, right? Like, it starts with the person who did this tweet, who is a person called Neb, noticing that they changed Kraven's backstory so that he fits an anti-hero type thing, like with Venom and Morbius, and they actually show panels from the comic that are like equal between the Catman origin story from the Secret Six from DC Comics and the Kraven movie trailer. There's even a tweet from Gail Simone, like, why did they make Kraven into Catman? Then we talk about Madam Web ending with Cassandra Webb blinded in a wheelchair in the comics, and then guiding 3 other Spider-Women as a team of vigilantes using psychic spider powers to operate from her home, which is literally the Birds of Prey, straight up.
Yeah,
with
even
Oracle.
I know that. I'm not a DC. Even I know that.
Yeah, literally the Birds of Prey, and it's like same. They even have like the fucking in the movie Madam Web. They even have the fucking like circle window, like from the top of a like New York like skyscraper set kind of window in there, and then and then it just keeps going, because then there's also that they announced the El Muerto movie. Another big part of the Secret Six is Bane, who is basically what El Muerto is, because El Muerto is barely even a character. He's just a guy from a comic book.
It's a one-off character. It's a one-off. Yeah.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen, like, how far this is going to go. Like, I can't imagine they're going to put out, like, another fucking Spider-Man.
No, they're not. They're done. Sony said they're done.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're going to.
They're not making money. People think they're jokes.
I think the bit was originally going to be that they were going to reveal that this was all, but Sinister Six, but that it was also going to reveal that it's all in the universe where Andrew Garfield is Spider-Man.
No. Originally, what they wanted to do originally was Sony wanted to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted to like license off and do their deal with Disney. So Tom Holland Spider-Man was in there at the same time. Build up their shitty Sonyverse to have the Tom Holland Spider-Man eventually be in a movie with those characters. That's what the plan always was.
Yeah, well, I don't think so.
It was. It absolutely was.
I think at first it was, but Madam Web, when they changed the timing on Madam Web, the time period on Madam Web, it was to the original reason.
Well, not counting Madam Web, but counting Morbius, the Michael Keaton Vulture appearing in Morbius, and Venom. And El Muerto, like all that, the plan was to build up this cadre of characters to go after Tom Holland.
When they were all going to be hits, yeah. But I think their savior plan in the wake of the 3 Spider-Man movie, the No Way Home movie, was to like go, okay, well, everybody wants this amazing Spider-Man, so let's just let's try and get in there. But
from how it sounds, they really were last minute changing that plot of that entire movie to like, okay, we're just going to do multiverse. We can get these characters. Was really touch and go from what it sounds like, with Sony arguing what they wanted to do versus what Disney wanted to do.
Also weirdly, like, hilariously accurate for like how comic books are too, like how they actually are published, and like the kind of shit that comes out on the racks every month, like. I'm sure the editors have arguments with the comics writers all the time about you can't do this with the characters, or now you can't blow your wad doing this. And there's just something a lot more like disgustingly immoral and gross about it when it represents like tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, because it's everyone sees it. No one sees all these little comics that come out anymore. No one knows they exist, but everyone knows these.
Nothing. They cost the salary of 2 guys to make, 2 or 3 guys to make. You got
an inker, you got a writer, you got a penciler. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being naive. It's obviously like maybe like 10 to 12 people altogether going to one comic, but you get the point.
What's going on with the drones, Alex?
The drones. The drones! Okay, here's the thing about the drones.
This is a Chilluminati special.
Here's the thing. Yeah, here's the thing about the drones. I don't want to talk too much about the drones being UFOs because I'm just going to moot that out right now because there's no evidence that it is aliens or anything from another world or anything like that.
Okay, well, first of all, Alex, you sometimes you don't set up these mini topics. What are the drones?
I'm gonna get to that. My point is that what I'm talking about today is not aliens, and I just don't want to go down that road. Sure. What's happening right now is that people are seeing these drones for the last couple weeks or so. They've been heavily located around the New Jersey area, but they're also showing up in the Southwest. They're also showing up in California. There's panic. People are. It's in the wake of another like crazy UFO thing that was happening for a few days in England that nobody can explain, with some spheres coming out of the sky. But what it really is that's unsettling about it, I think, for people right now, is that the government has had this like sort of weird vibe about it where they are like unusually chatty about it, but also saying they don't know anything about it. So like,
yes. So the prevailing theory, and they're drones. You can get clear picture. These look like standard drones for the most part. But it's the prevalence of how many they are. They're near military installations. People are reacting weird. There's reports of people's like clocks changing in their cars when they were near them. I think there was a pilot in Jersey that lost control after he flew near one. That came out on Fox News literally earlier today. So the prevailing theory is that this is militarized technology on a new gen of drones that are like anti-radar shit, spoofing technology that can screw with instrumentation and things. And that's why people are freaking out. It's not just, we just see random drones. These drones have abilities, it seems, on top of it.
Yeah, some people were saying they come from the ocean, like because they come in from the sea. You know, like I'm not saying right now that they come out of the water, but people were saying that maybe they come out of the water because they come inland from the ocean when they approach.
Some people said they came inland from the ocean. Okay,
that's like where they've been going. They've been coming in at the same time every night, doing stuff, and leaving at the same time every night. So we know the vector, we know everything about it, other than what the fuck they are, because they're really good at evading identification. So, the thing that's interesting to me about this that like works for our show, I think, is that like looking at what's going on, like there's an explanation from this guy, CEO guy, who like is like a drone company guy, and he's saying like it's probably just drones that like are like under government contract, that are like secret, that are doing something that they don't want us to know about, whether it be testing or whatever. There's really not a lot of reasons to be flying a drone at night. The test footage would not be good, you know, like it's not a great time to like show off the capabilities of something when you're trying to show people the capabilities of something. But it's like very likely that the mundane explanation is, right? And we were just talking about this before. It's very likely that the mundane explanation is just that these drones are some kind of contractor doing some kind of drone flight. But
yes,
but we don't know who that is. We don't know what it is, and we don't know if it's us, because the government, whenever they're asked, they're not like it's us. They're like, it's not us. It's not our foreign adversaries. And we don't know what it is, and nothing that exists can move like this. So,
what do you mean nothing exists? They're drones. They can move like drones.
What they're saying is that like nothing that there's no like. What they mean is that don't worry, it's not something from China coming to kill us that we know about. Yeah, there's not like some military craft that does stuff to people that can do this. Is what they're saying.
Sure.
So,
yeah, it's not a foreign adversary. We would have taken care of that lickety split. The same way when there's one random balloon flying we find in like the Northwest, we take care of it and shoot it down.
But it's like, actually a good example of how we treat this stuff that makes people fucking worried about it too.
Well, yeah, because people don't trust the government in general for good and bad reasons, you know. And so they here's the thing: if you're the government, you don't say the same reason why like they never admitted all the UFOs. They allowed all the UFO things to be like, yeah, we don't know what they are, because they were testing military crafts, and like the SR-71 Blackbird, and you know, and they were testing like the B-2, you know, the fucking wing bomber looking thing that looks like a UFO. They're not going to tell anyone what's really going on, because there's no advantage of doing that.
But there's
no advantage to be honest. Huh?
But what's the point of not saying it after the B-2 gets bought, for example?
You just don't ever want to tip your hat anyway to Russia or China. That's the bottom line. There's
true.
no advantage to being honest when we're in arms races with these countries.
That's true, and I think
there isn't.
And I think
we're so far ahead of them still. I think it used to be we were like 15 years ahead of anyone close to us in aerial military technology. It's probably still around that.
Or so we think. Or
so we believe.
Yeah.
Like, but it was always that, like, no one has something close to our, you know, B-2. Like, even still, I believe. Like, like we, for whatever reason, maybe because we got a bunch of German scientists after World War II, we still are way ahead in most military tech, but especially in the aerial supremacy. We are, that's why, for the most part, everyone buys our shit, for the most part.
Yeah. But the thing that's interesting is, like, the government, like we're at a point right now where, like, literacy is very low with, like, issues. Like, people don't know the nuances of what's going on in the government in general. Like, young people.
They don't know how the government functions.
Yeah,
they don't
especially. Know. And so, like, you know, they're being fed stuff about, like, you know, the Republican sort of, like, platform has been very dishonest about, like, the causes of things, right? You know, they're kind of conveniently ignoring the geopolitical situation that's creating a lot of the problems that they campaigned on, right? And so people have a sort of misunderstanding of why bad things are happening and why information is kept from them in a lot of situations.
Sure.
And I think that the really interesting thing about this drone thing is how wacky just the average person's opinion is of what's going on, and how weird that feels for me to be watching like a newscast and them showing footage and being like, we genuinely have no idea what this is. It could be an alien.
Yeah, well, because like the CIA or the contracted military folks don't have any obligation to tell the state of New Jersey what's going on.
Right.
They have
I've
obligation.
just never had that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that in my lifetime that I can remember. Just something just happening brazenly.
This blatant. Sure.
Yeah. That.
Well, but
like,
it happened. Like I said, when they were testing the Blackbird in the '60s, like this happened a lot, but you didn't hear about like Twitter and all those people.
Yeah. Well, we
taking
couldn't
videos of the
we
phone.
couldn't like text each other immediately. But it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
What, you think when the F-117A stealth fighter was tested all over? What the hell? Nothing looked like that before. Never mind the B-2. When the stealth fighter started being tested, what was that, in the 70s or so? Late 70s, I believe. Like that looked alien to people. They didn't know what the hell that was.
Did you know my mom worked at Northrop Grumman and worked on the stealth bomber?
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What specifically did she do?
She was a parts. She negotiated like part.
The cup holders? Like what did she?
No, like she'd go to these like big meetings with like producers of like components for the plane and like get the prices for everything and like buy.
Oh, she negotiated prices
like
for
buy the
parts.
Actual stuff. Huge
Interesting.
deals. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, she doesn't do that
the
anymore.
Tail fins.
Yeah.
The stealth armor.
She doesn't
the
do it anymore.
headrest.
Yeah, but she did it for the F-18 Hornet, F-18EF, the Super Hornet.
Which we still use, I believe.
Yeah. The Navy does a lot too, and the bomber, and then now the new one. She unknowingly was working on the new stealth plane before she.
All right, say
retired.
no more. The government's going to shut down our podcast.
No,
Okay.
they announced it. They announced it recently, but it was
the Aurora project or something else.
It was.
The old
It's
Aurora
like the
project?
next. It's like the next gen stealth plane.
Because they've been working on the Aurora project for like 20 years at least.
No, this was just
believe.
something in the last couple of years. It's like a new contract to make some new planes because the B-2 is like kind of old.
Was the
old
Aurora
tech.
one supposed to be the one that can go into space, I believe?
I don't know about the Aurora. That sounds like some X-Men
The
shit.
Aurora was the name of something like 25 years ago. Rumored mid-'80s reconnaissance aircraft. Oh, there's no evidence it was ever flown or it was that's like a myth. Okay, there's a whole Wikipedia.
Yeah, we're talking about the B-21 Raider is what we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've seen this plane. It's pretty sick.
So I guess the bottom line is that drones is like the next bleeding edge technology for military tech. Like the war in Ukraine uses drones a lot, dropping grenades, reconnaissance. You can now mount guns to these things. It's going to be drone. It's going to go back to like World War I, when you had people shooting shotguns and handguns at each other. Picture how that was the original aerial combat, but now with drones, that's how it's going to come full circle. Like, that's crazy, but that's what's happening 100 years later.
I don't understand why drones kill people. Like, it should be like drone v drone battle bots, and then we just.
But that's where we're headed. It's become drone wars. That's what I'm talking. Like, it's going to be like drone aerial combat shit that's going to happen in the future.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Like, if it lowers the deaths on the ground in general, but I just feel like they're just going to be raining bombs on poor people for the rest of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Which I just
Sure.
is just insane to me. But
It's just a cheaper way to kill people. Drones.
I just wanted to show you guys what it's like to talk about drones on a podcast that's not about UFOs, because it's very tame and straightforward. And you just got to be level-headed about this type of shit, right? Like, yes, there's stuff in here that I've seen that is unbelievable, right? Like, there's footage out there that is better than any other footage, like news cameras filming the night sky and seeing things that I've never seen in the air.
But they're drones. They're
Well,
drones.
I mean, did you see the one that I sent you just now, just for my own?
What did you send me?
I texted it to you.
Text me, and I got to go to my phone during our podcast.
Yeah,
while we're
just
recording?
real quick.
Is the one that's like spinning around in a circle?
It's like yellow. It's like on the New Jersey, like ABC 7.
Yeah, so that could be an effect, a lighting effect on the circular one. That's just how things process in low lights, I think.
Could be very well.
Yes.
But we're talking about camera operators who operate news cameras. That's why to me this is more compelling, is because I feel like somebody who runs and knows how to use this camera would know that like that's what that is.
What's so special about the second one that you showed me in Phoenix here?
I was just showing you that it has a kind of crazy. It's a pretty compelling footage, but it's also because we were talking about that it's localized in New Jersey. But this one
it flies up to something else that's blinking that could be a helicopter or another drone.
Just the way that they fly around, and I believe that one of them is not a drone, but I'm not sure.
Well, people have already said, "Oh, you're taking video of something that's obviously a plane." The government official said, "Oh, look at this." They tweeted, and I was like, "No, that's just like a plane's lights." So we gotta.
But my point is that this sort of fever is everywhere. We're seeing
this is what happened. This is exactly what happened in the 50s in the first run of UFO sightings.
Yeah,
exactly what happened.
Except now it's like so much stronger because we are global, and we've got AOC and Matt Gaetz like being civil and like working together to like get the government to talk about UFOs visiting military bases.
Well, the congressional hearings are another topic, but
there's also it closed down the airport. These drones, like there is. Like you'd think that the military would be like, "Hey, we're gonna be over there." Like you don't just fuck with air traffic like that. That's crazy.
They don't care.
That's so much money.
When have the military ever cared about that?
You've seen the movies. So many companies, so much money. Whatever. Let's talk about the Game Awards.
The Game Awards. I don't watch it anymore. I stopped watching it about 4 years ago because I was like, "Why am I watching this show?" That it's so insular and it's so masturbatory for everyone to get together and congratulate themselves for making what are entertainment consumer products and awarding ourselves it. When they get awarded anyway by other organizations and every website and like PC Gamer used to do Game of the Year or like categories, and so I just looked at it as superfluous. Obviously, the heavy advertising during it and the lack of hell. I think I talked about with Ian. I think like the last couple of years, they didn't even do like a Lifetime Achievement Award. They couldn't even bother to do a Lifetime Achievement Award. I was just like, okay, fuck this.
They did like half the awards in the pre-show, like before. So people it's
not even. They're not even pretending to be something as you want to say wholesome, like the Academy Awards compared to the Game Awards. The Academy Awards is wholesome because the Academy Awards isn't running new movie trailers during the show.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where they draw the line.
It's very ugly. Like how little regard there is for the culture that is supposed to be the reason the award show exists.
So the Academy Awards, for the most part, they are celebrating the past industry and accomplishments that are happening that year and before with like honoring lifetime achievements. The Game Awards are so Kraven because they are paid for by the main video game companies that they are forced to advertise new games. And those games may never come out.
I think
they might be shit. It's a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
And so the point is this: is like in my head, there's no reason why I would want to watch this to begin with. So my question I have is like, why do we have these? Like, we know why they exist because they get sponsored by the big video game companies to push the new games. We get that, but like, why do we, the consumers, actually need the Game Awards?
Well, I think what happened is Jeff saw an opportunity, and he decided
to be Mr. Game Awards.
Yeah, well, because he already was Mr. Game Awards. But what I'm saying is, the Game Awards, when you used to watch the Game Awards, like they've always kind of been this way, for the most, like in some way. They're not as good. They've never been as good as the Academy Awards. But at least in the beginning, there was a lot more of a pretense for it to be something that eventually would evolve into something like the Academy Awards, and that's of course like what his sort of like his statement, his mission statement was, right, with the Game Awards. But I think somewhere along the line, it looked like he made the realization that we all made, which is that the game industry doesn't really need these awards in this way. There's plenty of other like way more prestigious video game awards out there already.
No one talks about the DICE Awards, right?
Yeah, the DICE Awards, the BAFTAs. The BAFTAs are amazing, right? But he saw that E3 was going down and he needed to keep his show going, so he's like, let's do it. Let's make it also E3. And so I think that's where which
is funny because now he do the Summer Games Fest, which is E3.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. I think like if Jeff was like a classy guy, if he was a classy guy, he would remove the trailers from his award show and keep them in the Summer Games Fest. Now that he has a whole Games Fest for it, but
that's the reason the show exists. So that's the whole point.
I'm not like so naive that I believe this could ever occur. I'm just saying like
yes,
when you've got the guy from Black Myth Wukong showing up at your thing with his Game of the Year acceptance speech that he wrote 2 years earlier.
What? He pre-wrote it 2 years earlier? Did he say that?
Yeah, angry, throwing shade at Astrobot because he said, "What's the point of me coming here if Astrobot's just going to win after all this?" And I'm like, dude, your game got like an 82 on Metacritic. It's like the lowest Metascore game ever nominated for Game of the Year.
But it still was a commercial success. It sold millions and millions and millions. So, like, either way, he shouldn't care.
Commercial success is, like, not what the Game Awards are about, though, right? Like,
but the point is like, so this isn't a sidetrack onto this guy's motivation, but it's like when you're invited to an award show, you're not guaranteed to win it. Why would you think you'd be guaranteed to win it? I don't understand that.
Because of what you just said, I think. And I think it just speaks to the problem with the Game Awards is, like, this guy showed up with a game that, like, people didn't really love. I don't know anybody who played this game. Black Myth Wukong, and I'm not. Obviously, that's circumstantial, and I'm sure people. It doesn't look like a shit game. It doesn't. It just doesn't.
Sold like 20 million or something.
It looks pretty nice. Like it looks pretty beautiful, right? Like kind of Souls-likey, action-y type of game, right?
Yeah.
But I don't understand how. Like it seems like part of the product was for it to become a game that would win Game of the Year, and I think a lot of games. Think about that as part of their like business plan in a way that is like kind of weird. Like it's almost like being Oscar bait, but it's like way grosser because there's so much less like mask about the money situation. And so I don't know, him showing up and being like, "Why didn't we win? We like got the best Steam reviews from the users," is like, you know,
the best Steam reviews from the users.
It was like the most concurrent players of any video game ever on Steam when Black Myth Wukong come out. And I'm just saying, like, I don't think that the natural hype for the game in this normal Steam marketplace was such that it suddenly became the most played game on Steam. I think, you know, some sort of outside influence caused that to occur in the same way that Sonic fans kind of like game polls to put Sonic at the top or whatever. You know, like I don't think that the enthusiasm for Black Myth Wukong was so large as all that.
I want to give, this is the exact quote of the producer, the Black Myth Wukong producer Fengji went to the, whatever the Chinese social media platform that they allow their Weibo, since they don't allow, you know, Western social media for the most part in China. Said the games nominated this year were all exceptional, but honestly, I still can't figure out what the criteria were for Game of the Year. Well, they vote on it. All the people in the industry vote on it.
It's just like the Academy Awards, yeah.
I feel like I came all the way here for nothing. It's not. It's normal to be a little angry when you are so confident but not recognized by others. No, your game was nominated. You were recognized.
Your game was reviewed. You still made it to the top 5 of the entire year.
Yeah, that's the point. Is this like? I'm sure that people that loved this game were hurt that it didn't win Game of the Year. And that's in my mind what's so weird about it, because I can't think of any other, like, I'm not hurt if the movie I like doesn't win Best Picture.
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm just like, oh, it's a goofy award. Like, who cares?
Wow, like, they really deserved it.
I don't say there's no justice in the world because, like, it doesn't affect, the game's been out already. You're not affecting it commercially at this point. It's done.
If I feel bad, I might say, "Oh, what a shame," and then I'll like move another sip of my I might take a sip of my beer. But honestly, fuck that. Astrobot ripped. Like, don't go into the Game Awards, not win, and then be like, "Who cares about Astrobot? We were so much better."
Sure.
It feels very. I don't want to say arrogant because I didn't read it in Chinese, right? So I don't know. But the English translation feels very arrogant.
I don't know. I mean, every year I talk about this with Ian on the CU podcast. I'm like, why? We don't need a Game Award show that's supposed to be like the Emmys or the Academy Awards. It
makes sense.
I've had the opportunity to go. I've been invited to be in the audience just to hang out, and I'm just like, what? Why would I put myself through that? Why? What's the point of me sitting there and clapping for these games? Like, oh, yay, games! Like, we all love games in some way, shape, or form.
It's funny because the Academy Awards and the Emmys and the Grammys and all these other ones have the culture around it that it's awesome to go to them because cool things happen and really famous people are there.
But the attendees at the Academy Awards are usually all in the business.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're all rich.
The people they invite, but not for this. Not for this. They invite influencers of my stupid ass guy. They invited every other asshole.
Right.
Like who cares? That want me in the audience clapping like to these awards.
Yeah. What did I do? I have never made a video. Well, now I've made one video game a little bit, but I still don't deserve to be. I don't know. I'm not Will Smith.
If you got an invite, you're more local. It's in L.A., right? Would you go to this award show as a lark or no?
I've skipped it twice.
So you got an opportunity like me and you skipped it. Okay.
I've skipped it twice, but only because I fucking hate dressing up.
What do you think about the past now, what you want to say, 3, 4, 5 years? The arbitrary, not arbitrary, but the obligatory inclusion of Hollywood celebrities, whether or not they're involved with the games. Now they just show up.
Marketing.
Obviously, now that they're involved in the games, they're showing up more to give it a legitimacy that these folks, these Hollywood stars, are showing up. Do you think it's like the natural progression of the games industry, or is it just like a Kraven attempt to, we got star power, or is it somewhere in between where,
they just realized that there's not like gaming celebrities that make video games, and so they're trying to balance it out. Like, you know who the best part of the Game Awards was this year? Genuinely, Waldorf and Statler. Like,
I heard they were there. They made some joke about.
They've been there a couple times, but whoever was writing the jokes was allowed to like actually be mean, and it was great.
I heard the Kojima joke about does Kojima know him and Jeff Keighley are friends?
Yeah. Kojima looked amazing. Kojima's one of like 2 people that I was actually excited to see his outfit at the Game Awards, and he looked like a character from Metaphor Refantasio. He looked amazing.
Do you think Harrison Ford showed up because they paid him, or he was paying off a favor to someone to show up? Or, because he's not getting a cut of that game, I don't think.
Did they show a trailer? Did they show a trailer?
They're talking about the Great Circle. So like he showed up.
Yeah, but did they show a trailer for Avengers?
I have no idea.
If they showed a trailer for Avengers, I know I was there, but if not, I don't know.
That's right. He's in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that part because I was in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Not at the awards show in the bathroom. You're in the bathroom in general.
I didn't step out of the theater.
No, I'm happy. Yeah. We used to cover this on the CU podcast and go through what happened, but I'm so over even acknowledging it at all.
It was gross. It was gross how fast they said the awards compared to how much time was spent just promoting stuff.
They used to do the whole ratio where it was like 80% advertisement, 20% actually awards.
It's less.
Probably
less.
It's less than that now?
Less. Like, there's some great trailers. Like, as an E3 style event, there was some great stuff that I'm excited for. But, like, I don't care about that right now. Like, I'm trying to talk about I'm trying to talk about who did good this year already of games I already played. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't care what fucking Neil Druckmann's gonna come out with in like fucking 1.5 years.
So they showed a trailer to this Shadow Labyrinth.
Oh yeah,
game.
Pretty neat.
Which was an episode of Secret Level that the Pac-Man episode was.
Yes.
So the game was being made by Bandai Namco, and it has Pac-Man elements. It's a weird, gory, 2D action platformer.
It's like a Namco, like, sweetheart, fan servicey, like, Pac-Man themed game.
It's not fan service because it's nothing to fucking do with Pac-Man, first of all.
So you're a hater. All right, got it.
I'm a hater.
Yeah.
To me, this diminishes the Pac-Man brand because it's shoehorned into the concept.
I don't think it's shoehorned in. I think the game concept came before the Secret Level episode.
Yes, but it's still shoehorned in because the order of operations was they make this game. Now they hire or have the idea shared with the Amazon, the Death, Sex, Love, and Robots team, whatever.
Well, except for David Fincher, right? It's
to
just
make
Tim Miller.
This episode that's announced Pac-Man Circle. Everyone watches like, what the fuck is this? This has nothing to do with Pac-Man except like this is like the Image Comics version of the Pac-Man idea
like the classic,
from '93.
It's like the classic creepypasta of Pac-Man about like a guy in a spacesuit and he sees ghosts and he's
not
taking
a spacesuit.
pills.
He's a weird Oddworld Abe's Exodus looking alien.
Well, in this he is, yeah. But I'm just saying in the classic fan art that I used to see in 2009 on shirts.
So here's the point: we were all like not distraught. We were like disoriented about. Did you watch that episode of Secret Level? I watched it.
I didn't watch the Secret Level. I was supposed to go to the premiere, but I I had a family thing I had to go to.
I watched 3 episodes. I have wildly different opinions about the 3. I watched Unreal Tournament because I'm an Unreal Tournament fanboy, Sifu, and I watched the Pac-Man episode. Obviously, I was like, this is a mess. It's a clever idea of Pac-Man if you're like 14 years old, working.
It's also like trite. It's trite.
It's not clever at all.
It would be if I'd never heard of it before, but I have.
Here's the point.
Yeah.
Afterwards we find out this is a tie-in to a new game, it becomes even more shallow of an idea. That's the point.
Well, one of the other ones was fucking a game that got launched and canceled before the fucking thing even came out.
Yes, but at least with that, Sony just paid them a bunch of money. They're like, okay, we got a new game coming out. This is going to be a hit. Do an episode. This is like taking the second probably most famous video game character of all time.
Yeah.
The first video game mascot that ever really existed and was worth a damn, that changed video games forever. You can argue the most important video game of all time is Pac-Man. And we're going to distort this into a weird game that has nothing to do with Pac-Man. And you're going to argue.
You're sounding like a
it.
religious fundamentalist here.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a Pac-Man fundamentalist because our birthdays are like literally a week apart when we came out.
That's some good sound reasoning right there. Go ahead.
Yes. The point is this. This makes it more gross, the game idea. It makes Secret Level more gross in retrospect because now you figure out half of these short films are advertisements like Concord is.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping Unreal Tournament's an advertisement for a new Unreal Tournament game because we haven't had one released now in 17 years.
I don't think that's what's going to happen.
They released 2 Fortnite Unreal Tournament skins. Thank you so much, Epic. Yeah. But anyway, so the point is this. I'm just sort of like, if I'm Bandai Namco, I'm like, dude, you have a cute character that we still love. Little yellow guy.
Yeah.
What are you fucking doing? That's all I'm saying. You might disagree.
I think it's because you got to consider Namco's also the Dark Souls people. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, which is
why
basically,
would you have to combine them?
Look, here's what I'm going to say. I think if that game is a real quality game, that this is a great idea. But if that game is like shit, then it's not a great idea. But I'll tell you this, I'll bet you a bowl of birria ramen that game gets an 8.7 or higher Metascore.
On what, Metacritic?
Yeah, Metascore. And that it's like a hit next year.
Okay, but here's the point.
Like, because if it is, then they had a good game on the back burner that they knew was going to be a hit, and then they said, you know what? We're so confident in this that we're going to make our Pac-Man thing, this new Pac-Man that old Pat doesn't like.
That's not what they did,
and everybody's going to be satisfied, and Pac-Man's going to feel fresh.
They shoehorned the idea into this IP to get Pac-Man people interested, but no one that's a fan of the old Pac-Man IP is going to buy this.
Yeah.
Huh?
There's no, like, Pac-Man demo anymore. It's just
is. It's me and everyone older than me.
Yeah, but even then,
Ian's the Pac-Man demo. Ian will buy a little Pac-Man figurine at Comic-Con. He's the Pac-Man demo.
Ian is a Pac-Man. Like, Ian is the guy that loves Pac-Man, but
he's he's the original Namco fanboy.
But there's like 10 Ians. Like, period. Like, that's
the point is this.
That's the whole thing.
The point is this. No one interested in this gory 2D hack and slasher is going to buy it because they shoehorn Pac-Man into it. And no one who's a real Pac-Man fan like me is going to buy this game because they shoehorn Pac-Man into it.
I love Pac-Man.
You have deleted out both things.
I love Pac-Man. I'm going to buy it because
I love Pac-Man, you're going to buy it.
Because I want to see... Because last time I bought a Pac-Man game that I didn't know what it was Pac-Man Championship Edition, and that was the best video game that I bought for 10 years.
And this is not that. Because that's a Pac-Man game.
Yeah,
this is not a Pac-Man game.
I will qualify it by saying that it was the last game that was commercially released by the man who invented Pac-Man the last time, and this one is not that.
Which shows that you can still do a good Pac-Man game that isn't like a gory, grimdark Image Comics throwaway idea for 93.
But you may be a grandpa about this, right? Like
I may be, but I'm right.
You may just be a grandpa about this. You can be
and
right.
You're going to buy it because you give things too much of an artistic chance than you should.
What are you taught? That's how art exists. We have to have open minds. We can't just be selfish consumers of art just for ourselves. That's just porn. That's just porn.
I'm a selfish consumer of soft drinks.
That's
and of Coca-Cola.
That's fair. I'm a selfish consumer. You know what? I drink only like 10 sodas a year, like a can.
Really?
Like I don't drink that much soda. Like when I buy a soda off the rack and drink the whole thing, rare.
I drink Coke Zero about 3 days a week. I like wild cherry Pepsi, Diet Pepsi is like incredible. I like it better than Diet Coke, or I guess you can get Coke Zero cherry. And so Coca-Cola, you're a big marketing guy. I'm a big marketing and brand guy. Coca-Cola is probably the if not the most recognized brand on the planet. It's in the top 5, right? You would agree with that?
I would say top 2, top 3. Yeah, yeah.
They have the most famous commercial of all time, the Teach the World to Sing commercial that came out in 70, you want to say 72?
Yeah, created by a very famous ad man from television. Just kidding.
One of the most brilliant endings of a show ever that they worked that in. It kind of worked.
Yeah, if you don't like the end of Mad Men, you're a hater.
Yes. And their logo's iconic, the drink's iconic. It's been around for 150 years at this point or whatever, 130
almost unchanged.
Years.
Almost unchanged, which is the part
almost unchanged.
Yeah.
They had the new Coke shit thing that happened in the 80s where they realized that was a bad idea. But for the most part, Coke has kept things to the straight and narrow. Every year they have the best Christmas commercials until this year. Because this year they decided to go the AI route for their main Christmas commercials. And they have a few different versions. There's a 15-second spot. I linked to you in here on our docket, Alex. There's a 30-second spot.
Yeah, I watched all of these. I've seen all of these several times because I was literally in disbelief. There's several people in my phone who I text purely about how angry I am about marketing and advertising. And this is one of the most cynical. Like, if there is any sign that you should take as a creative person in the advertising industry that you are fucked, this is it right here.
So what they did is AI, you can do prompts on, like, what is it, Midjourney. You can then take those AI images and spit it into another AI program to create a little mini. I think they're between like 1.5 and 4 seconds long. It'll do like a little. It's not even like a video. It's like almost like an exaggerated. Like, with your cell phone, what's the mode you turn on where it creates a mini movie?
Yeah,
but it's a picture.
It's like a motion graphic.
It's a motion graphic that moves a little bit. It's almost like a GIF.
Yeah.
It creates. And it's GIF, not GIF. That's what the creator said.
Yeah.
And so these awful commercials, there's a 15-second one, 30-second, and minute, are a bunch of like 2-second stitched videos together that have no sort of like narrative to them. There's no sort of like plot.
They just sort of look like the old Coke commercials from the 90s.
There's the polar bears hanging out by it's a weird, like, hey, it's a river and a mountain, but it's a city, but it's not a city. Is it Norway? Where are we? Then you see a couple.
What's wrong with that person's hands? What's wrong with that person's hair?
You see the Coke trucks pull in these like 18-wheelers, but now it's like a city. There's people on the side of the road. There's overly enthusiastic AI people with really strange smiles that are not part of the other shots. And then Santa in his weird fingers, thankfully he only has 5, hands a Coke to someone. Then it cuts to someone holding a Coke, so it's not. There's no like real video. It's just
like a montage. Yeah, they're
disparate
like
images. They're trying to stitch together a narrative for these commercials, and thankfully the response was so overwhelmingly negative that they had to issue a statement that was like, "Oh, we experiment with new stuff. We're Coca-Cola." They delisted the 15-second. Coca-Cola delisted. They unlisted the spot because of how bad the feedback was.
Yeah, they said like. I can't believe that they thought that the optics were going to be okay on this. Like,
the only thing not AI'd was probably the logo they show at the end, because they ain't going to fuck up with that logo.
There's plenty of places throughout where they clearly went in and digitally added real assets, like the Santa ads and all that. Not to mention,
to make sure it wasn't fucked. Yeah. It wasn't AI slop.
Yeah, not to mention
entirely.
They trained the AI on real actors for all the actors, so there's no like.
Oh, you think they did? Did they say that?
They did for sure, and
okay.
They did sign releases on them, and then like the other thing that's worth considering here is like Coke is proud because it saved them money. They literally were like, this is great for us because we didn't have to do anything, like we didn't have to go shoot anything.
It's Coca-Cola though.
Yeah. No,
their
but
marketing budget is insane.
I agree with you. But they're seeing it as we can just have this money instead. And we don't care because nobody cares. And the saddest part is they're right. Because if you want to get really depressed right fast, try and convince someone who likes the stuff that AI makes that there is a better thing out there for them than AI. Try.
What do you mean? Like, try to convince them there's something better out? What do you
People
mean?
that are like, AI is great. I love what Coke is doing. Be like, there's nothing here.
But those are like the AI tech bros. They don't count. They're not real people.
But
Half of them are bots.
I got to tell you right now, Pat, they are real people, and they're the reason that this happens. And the reason that it happens is because there's more of them than there are of us.
No, that's not. You're being not cynical enough. The reason this happens is because the execs are like, well, we can pay 3 different firms like $15,000 each, and that shit that they put out, who cares if people don't like it? We're Coca-Cola. But we just saved $500,000 because we didn't shoot commercials on our own. That's what happened. AI was there for them to get away with this shit. Next year, I can almost guarantee you this will not happen.
What I would do if I was like some like world-saving organization, my Super Bowl ad would be to calculate how much environmental damage creating these Coca-Cola commercials did, and that would be my Super Bowl.
Oh, they already
ad.
did it. I think I saw one where it's like for every 100 AI images, it's like you drove your car 4 miles down the road.
Yeah. Think about that.
That's a lot. That's a lot of energy to create shitty images, let alone the video. That's a lot of energy that's wasted.
Yeah.
A lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. No, I think Coca-Cola is not good for bad press. They almost never had bad press for their marketing. They're like squeaky clean, which is why I'm so shocked that this got through multiple layers. Coca-Cola's marketing team is probably 300 fucking people. Like, it's probably a gigantic department, like between domestic, international.
Yeah,
it's probably there's probably so many layers this had to get approved, which is why it's so mind-boggling that this got approved.
I heard that Coke, literally, I know somebody who worked with Coke, literally, like plan their tweets a year in advance.
I'm sure the brand is that important and iconic.
Yeah, and
squeaky clean.
They don't have to do anything. Like, I guarantee you this didn't even cost them any money, like sales-wise, that they had to turn around and like address this backlash. It's just because...
They did address the backlash, though.
But what I mean is, I don't think they did it. I don't think this even would have affected their sales anyway. I haven't watched a commercial for anything in 15 years. Like, it's almost like they made it with AI to get the... That was the whole point, was to make people mad.
No. It wasn't to get buzz, because this was a canary in the coal mine. This was, can we get away with this and transition more marketing over to AI? That's only thing. And this
everybody is going to keep doing it, and there's no way to stop it. And advertising is dead.
Well, no, advertising is not dead, because someone had a great point. They said if Pepsi put out a Christmas ad based on this and counteracted the AI, it would be so good for their brand. You could attract people over. There are people, I don't know, Joe not saying, thanks, I'm switching to Pepsi now. Like, people are really upset about this. I am, to a degree, you are. Not just because it takes away people's jobs, but it's lazy and looks like shit.
And it destroys the fucking planet. It lays bare how stupid they think we are. And
yes.
there's a lot of problems with it.
They're not going to come back with this. I would be shocked if you see this again from Coke, especially since their Christmas commercials are so iconic. I mean, I have the freaking stuff, this early CG from like the early 90s, the CG polar bears that are cute.
I have
Coke. Plush ones.
Yeah, I love Coke.
And that was done by real artists, and there's love and care put into that. And now it's AI slop. They show up for 2 seconds in one of these.
Yeah, Miyazaki was right. Hayao Miyazaki was right when he immediately just shit on AI the moment that he heard about it.
And plus, like, there's so many inconsistencies in the animation art people are pointing out. It's not really art.
No, it's not. It's a mockery of life, like Miyazaki said.
Oh, there's one shot where the front cab of one of the 18-wheelers is missing.
Yeah.
And another one, like the ears swap from the 2 different little bunny characters.
Yeah.
There's another someone tweeted out a picture where like Coca-Cola was Coca-Cola on one of the trucks real quick. And I don't know if that was real or not, but if that got through Coca-Cola's advertisement, like, someone's fired.
Right.
People are fired over that. Like, misspelling Coca-Cola in your commercial? Like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah, I know.
A company worth like billions of dollars?
I know. I agree. It's absolutely cowardly. It means that they don't it's so insulting. It's so insulting.
Yes. And the people that aren't insulted by it are like, oh, it's the future. I would venture to guess that a lot of those people are non-creatives.
Yeah, and you don't shit.
Realize.
Yeah.
They think like it's easy to write and shoot and edit and produce things that were like, oh, well, who cares? Like, no, it's difficult. It's an art form to put out entertainment, even well thought of produced.
Not to mention,
commercials.
computers can't create. Like, the very reason they were able to make this commercial was because of how popular their other commercial was.
Yes.
You fucking...
Yeah, you're right. They probably trained it on past
Yeah, they
Coca-Cola pictures and videos.
They absolutely
and
did.
artwork. Yeah, you're right.
Fucking idiots. Try and make
It's
a new company with AI, you dumb idiots.
Yeah, it is. It's more insulting the more you think about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that they couldn't even like use actors for the awful shots of the AI people. Like, you couldn't just film actors and put them in green screen. Like, that wouldn't cost you that much to do that. Like, you couldn't even do that.
Well, the point was for it to be AI, like, not to look good. It looked terrible.
But Coca-Cola is a soft drink company, not a technology company, which makes it even like nothing of it about it makes sense. It doesn't fit with the branding, doesn't fit with the brand image, nothing. It's awful. It's awful, Alex.
I agree.
I
It's rare that we just 100% agree.
Yeah,
but
no arguing, no. Pat, you're an idiot. You're an old man. No, it's
fuck
awful.
Coke. This was stupid. You owe me.
You owe me a soft drink.
Yeah, fuck you, Coke. You owe us all.
They said that the spokesperson said we are always exploring new ways to connect with consumers and experiment with different approaches.
Fucking shut up.
I'm sorry. Generating 1,000 images creates as much carbon dioxide as driving a gas-powered car 4.1 miles. A study found.
That is fucking...
So that means 100 is 4/10 of a mile. Let's say 100 images is half a mile.
AI, the truth is, it saves like 1% of people money and destroys the earth for all of us faster.
And it destroys human creativity.
Oh, but at least now you don't have to decide on what to pack for a trip by yourself, huh? Lucky you. Easy.
Well... I like the AI summary of our podcast. That's the one thing I actually like.
I'll say this. It was neat, but if I had to choose between, like, hey, do you want this or do you want, like, journalism? I would choose journalism.
Oh, sure, but that wasn't snuffing. But that wasn't snuffing out human creativity. That was summarizing our podcast. I was like, okay.
But even then, the environmental is, like, enough for me to be like,
okay,
I might as well just burn paper in my house.
God, I hope the podcast didn't burn down a forest that we created at the summarizing podcast.
It's like pretty rough how much environmental damage AI does.
All right, let's talk about this Luigi Mangione becoming the darling of the internet for murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last week in New York City.
Okay.
Got a ghost gun. He shot him in the back. It's on video. He was caught in Pennsylvania at a McDonald's, I believe. They were tipped off, and I don't know if this discussion wants to be more about the psychology and sociology of him becoming like an internet celebrity now, and the reasons why, or the depths of it, versus a conversation about how awful our healthcare system is and how this was, like, to a lot of people, rightful vengeance striking back against the biggest, I think it's the biggest health insurance company in the U.S. and has like the worst track record for denying claims. I think it's like 32% of claims are denied. And they use AI now to help deny claims and to decide claims, which is awful when it's life or death to have AI do it instead of a human. I have a lot of thoughts about this. And I understand why people are celebrating Luigi Mangione, which is like a caricature of an Italian name, by the way. But it's also disturbing. And I'm not someone, I hate our healthcare system. I don't think we need a health insurance industry. My plan is to do away with the health insurance industry gradually and get more and more people on a single payer sort of system or Medicare. You basically the Countryman Diaz plan is you gradually lower the acceptable age of Medicare over time, and you shrink the number of people on private insurance until you do away with it gradually. So therefore, you don't destroy the healthcare industry automatically because there's tons of jobs, but you eventually get rid of it. You shrink it until it's not viable anymore, and you give them a 20 to 25 year heads up. That's the Countryman Diaz plan, is to do that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, here's the thing.
Which we'll never do, but that would make sense. Anyway.
Here's the thing. It affects too many people to compare the murder at the center of this to, like, what occurred. Like, yes, one guy went and killed another person, and, like, as my morals dictate, like, I don't think anybody should ever kill anybody, right? Like, if it could be avoided, right? That's just how I feel about life and death. But I don't think it's actually fair to I don't think it's actually fair to judge anybody for feeling any type of way about this, because there's a social element here of like the amount of people that have no control over this, and the fact that it's just one person making choices that hurt so many people. That, you know, we talk about Luigi, we talk about the person, we talk about that he had like bad takes on stuff, like the people that were like standing him 1 second, like did a dive and then were ready to cancel him.
He's an Ivy League educated person. His political beliefs that we know are all over the map, like all over. So people were trying to say he was left ring, white ring. He's all over the map based upon his online activities and things like that. He lionized Ted Kaczynski, who was also, you know, anti-corporation.
But even going into his personal beliefs, it's like, fuck this guy Luigi, fuck all of that. What has happened here is that someone from the masses has said, "Hey, I gotta kill somebody to like make a message," right? That happened, right? Looking into the specifics of why this guy did it is never gonna like lead to any sort of satisfaction about all of us.
There's theories that a relative was denied care. He had a back issue. People were saying last year, maybe he was denied care.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why the one guy did it. The point is somebody was always going to do this eventually. You know what I mean? And
maybe.
And the thing that we're talking about isn't whether Luigi should have shot Brian. We're talking about, should a man shoot another man for this reason? You know what I mean?
Sure. But I think what's funny is that the people that are going rah-rah when the shoe's on the other foot don't like it. Because vigilantism can be misused by the left, the right, by whoever. And so if the people that are applauding this, and I believe this is more of this isn't a left-right thing in this case. This is like class. It's a class issue, obviously, and it's, you know, when people think they're being taken advantage of by the healthcare industry, which takes advantage of everyone, and it has. I won't get into how much I pay for my health insurance on the ACA, but it sucks.
It's not like I'm not. Yeah. It's not fucking up my life. I'm like a privileged person. Like, it's expensive. It's dumb. It sucks. The actual care is ass. It sucks. But it's not about me. It's about the thousands of people who just like have to say goodbye to people who are dying every single day just because the company's like, nah.
But not to be soapboxing, but I would caution people not to lionize murderers too much, because when the rabbit has the gun and it's turned around, then how are you going to feel? Like the same people that will lionize someone killing in for something that they think is righteous. What happens when other people think a cause is righteous and someone gets killed? What if an abortion doctor gets assassinated, and some people are saying, well, they had it coming to him because they're killing off unborn babies. Well, then are you going to feel the same way, that it's righteous? Or probably not, because you don't agree with that stance. So like that's where it gets dangerous. And that's where I'm like, I understand. Oh, he's hot. He's a hot Italian guy, and I love him. And it's like, well, did you like?
It's immature.
Did you also?
It's immature.
Was Ted Kaczynski not hot enough for you? Were you idolized Ted the same way? Because he had the same sort of espousing anti-corporism and killing people and sending them bombs, but that wasn't sexy enough for you. So I want to caution people on that, because it also goes on a line for people idolizing serial killers, which disgusts me. To my core.
It's just misguided. It's somebody who's not living the entire situation of it and just getting into it like comic book characters. It's not really the same thing. And it also, from a practicality stance, doesn't make any sense, because killing the CEO of a huge conglomerate company that's like, has a board of directors and stockholders does absolutely nothing, because corporations are machines. Yeah. Corporations have plans, literally continuance plans, for if like people are killed off, they know who steps in line to continue the machine, to make money for your shareholders. That's why, like, when they book flights, they don't allow all the board members to be on one plane, just in case the plane goes down. Corporations are machines, their own entity. Yeah. So, big time. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. I don't have that much to say about it. It's just what I said. Don't think about Luigi and Brian. Think about the fact that something happened that caused somebody to do this, and think about the thing that caused it. There's no reason to think about Brian or Luigi right now. You don't know those fucking people. People die every fucking day. Look at the situation. Think about which one's right. Think about what's right here. Don't think about whether it's right to kill one man. Just think about what United Healthcare is doing. Seriously. Well, no, I think you can think about whether or not you should kill a person or not. Yeah, I'm saying what the amount of deaths that this company has caused, it's like the fact that this guy went and killed this man, that's not the issue. The issue is that we're so mad as a people that we're willing to kill over this type of shit.
Like, how does it get to this point where someone feels they want to take someone's life in the streets of New York?
But let's get at it. I don't want to get too deep into this.
All right.
Yeah.
What did we learn today on the show, Alex? We learned that Coca-Cola, they can create AI slop with the best of them, unfortunately.
Coca-Cola's now as bad for you as their advertising is. The Game Awards do not need to exist, and I'm going to buy a copy of Black Myth Wukong because maybe it's good. Maybe maybe I just need to give it a chance.
We learned that Alex gives too much leeway to art when it comes to Pac-Man.
We learned that Pat is like a religious fundamentalist when it comes to a little yellow circle.
I'm a Pac-Man fundamentalist.
Yeah.
I will wear that moniker gladly.
I love that.
We also learned that Silver Spoons jumped the shark, and Pat's stuck with 2.5 more seasons to wash of the show.
Insane.
Oh my God.
Insane.
A desert island. And then we also, unfortunately, we learned that the Sonyverse didn't pay off. Sony, next time you want to do a Sonyverse in any way, give me $10 million. Just give me $10 million, and I'll tell you it's a bad idea, and then I'll save you $100 million down the road.
Just fucking try. Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all we got.
Happy 10th anniversary.
Alex has to go.
Yeah.
Even though he told me it wasn't an important meeting, he still has to go.
We started 40 minutes late. We'll see you guys later.
Take care.